Okay, welcome to Scotland for vlog number 10. And you are in Greece?
Yes, in the rainy Thessaloniki.
Oh, here it's dry. But I have to say, yesterday I was in England and I was driving home in pouring rain and thick fog. They do the stereotypes well, but I have to say I do love the English. I have to say that. I love the English, I love England, and it's nice to be home. Also, recently I went somewhere else. I went to Tehran and, for the Women's World Championship. No, I'll stop you right there. I wasn't playing. It's not funny. So I went there to support Sabine Feuser, and that's absolutely very confidential, my role there. But it made me just think a little bit about the tournament and so on, and in two dimensions. One dimension is the whole hijab political thing. I wrote a blog post about that. I answered to two things, I think, on the blog. And I think I'm going to stay out of any future debate of it. I think I made my own position clear. And people who are interested in that side can go there. But also just reminded me a little bit about the theater that I think knockout tournaments are. Theater, circus, you can call it what you want. It's very entertaining, but it's very important in the entertainment to remember that it's not entertainers we're having doing the entertaining. It's sportsmen and sportswomen. So this first example here from the first round, I think it was, where after playing for hours and hours and hours, White thinks she's lost. And knight e3 was played, king e1, rook g1, king f2, rook d2. And we all made mistakes. And if you put in a very stressful format, as this tournament is, you can miss something, even something simple. So in this position, White took an e3 and rook takes a2 and all over. But instead of king takes e3, then king e1. And if rook takes a2, it's stalemate. And there was some bit of ridiculing going on Facebook and other places of Natalia Buxa. I find this really, really unpleasant, because we set up a format which is ridiculous in itself, and it is done basically to promote this kind of thing happening, and then it happens and we make fun of the players. If we should make fun of anything, we should make fun of the format. So with that, I want to go on to the next example, because it's sort of similar thing. When you have these shorter time controls and many games and total stress on the players all the time, you get big mistakes. Like in this position, Black played knight d4. And the number one seed, I think she is, Ju Wen-jun, she took it with the queen. And that's a free piece. And she won the game. But then her opponent outplayed her in the next game. The third game was a draw. Okay, this is a different game here, which we'll talk about the third thing about it. But then the third game was a draw, and Ju Wen-jun won in the fourth game, which was a decent technical effort. As a game for a spectator sport, I think it was very far off. It was a really boring game, but it was reasonably well played. But obviously the things that will get magnified are things like blundering a piece there. Okay, so we also get some really absurd games. And at first when I was looking at this game, because I look at the games as chess, I thought there was an interesting little thing about calculation in it. So if we move forward a few moves here. So there, and here. Okay, so here we stop. So here we have a nice little combination. It's very simple. It happened after White was dominating. Black was trying to free herself, and she missed something. This happens all the time. White takes a pawn, bang, and black goes 2 pawns down. And you're putting the name up. This is Koditsa Kensukura, and take. Here f4 would have been a very good move. The king comes in and total control should win. But okay, she played another good move, e6. And rook e8, bishop e5. Take. Yeah, bishop d4. And now she's threatening rook g7, rook takes h7. The computer says you should accept that, but black played h5, which is a much more normal move. And now check, and king f8. And here, this position actually, if we stop here for a moment, I was thinking there's a little calculation point to it here, because white wins by force and by natural moves, but you have to see them. Otherwise, you might think that, oh, you lose control. I want to say that what white played was rook h7, and then rook h8, don't put it on the board, rook h7, and then just gave perpetual. And you know, I was thinking, oh, she missed the win. But that's the thing about these knockouts, she didn't. I'm sure you get my point.
Yeah, sure.
She won the first game, so she just saw a perpetual and went for it. But it's still interesting from a perspective of calculation. So those who want to stop it for a moment and see if they can find the win, I'm sure they will find it. It's not very difficult. So everyone should have a chance. So we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now we're going to look at what actually wins. So as said, she played rook h7 and perpetual. We don't need that. So the natural move to look at is rook c7. It threatens all kind of things, especially rook h7, followed by mate. So bishop f3 is a natural problem. Rook e1 check. Bishop c3 prevents it. Rook d8, threatening rook d1. And here, black would be okay if it wasn't for one simple thing, which is possible to miss, which is bishop b4 check. If you don't see this, black is probably just slightly worse. Now it's all over. So rook d6, rook d7 or something, and black loses a rook. You can also take it and win with the exchange up, it still wins. But I thought that was sort of like an interesting little thing. But because of the constant knockout, where it's the score in the match that's important, you get these strange chess moves all the time. And I like in the men's, the way it is in the men's, where we have the Grand Prix, which is a serious long-term thing. We have the World Cup, we have the rating, we have all of them qualify, and the World Championship match, of course. All of them qualify for the candidates, which is then a really, really high-class event. And in my opinion, is a much more interesting tournament than the World Championship match. The women, they do have a Grand Prix, and they do have a match, and they have a knockout, but the way they're weighed is a bit different. I see the winner of the male World Cup as sort of like a half wild card. And the winner there sometimes do make it to the World Championship match. Kayaking and Gelfen did so. And Kramnik almost did so, which was just a different Buchholz system, and he would have. So you cannot say it's the wrong people winning it. It just would feel strange that you have a world champion like Alexander Khalifman or some of the others who won it when it was World Championship. Not because they weren't immensely strong players and worthy of it, but because you would want to see them win it in something where it didn't feel random because of things like this.
Exactly.
Okay, so I know you had something you wanted to show as well, which was a little exercise.
Yeah, what I wanted to say about this perpetual that happened in this game is that I recall a similar thing happened in a match for the World Cup knockout between Kramnik and Polgar, where Kramnik had a winning position, but he gave a perpetual or something, or he went into a drawn endgame out of a winning position just to, secure the qualification to the next round.
Mm-hmm.
So it has happened a lot of times.
Obviously, here it's this is not some things you wouldn't see. Kudica is a good player, and she would see this and understand it easily if she looked for it at all. She just didn't, and she made it to the next round, and that's what she wanted, and well, good on her, yeah. Okay, let's see your stuff.
Okay, so yeah. This is an endgame I had with the white pieces yesterday. I think that the correct technique here is to play king e3, stop this pawn with the king and the other pawn with the bishop, but okay, yeah, I played another move, and the thing...
So why did you choose the other move?
Sorry?
So why did you choose king d4?
It's difficult to say. I think that I had a lot of time in my clock. I calculated this until the end, and I found it more interesting or more forcing, let's say. Mm-hmm. So I went for this. But my question is, does this endgame wins? I thought that...
Is white winning?
Yes, is white winning. I thought that the answer was simple, but I showed it to a few people and it was not obvious for them. I think that it is a matter of brute force calculation here, as happens a lot in the endgames. So I challenge our viewers to sit down, calculate it until the end, and give us a definite conclusion.
Okay, and since they have now done that, let's have it.
Okay, so
this move was forced, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. Also, this move is forced here, and now there are two drawing mechanisms. The first one, two defensive ideas. The first one is to play king d2, which I thought that this is the... at first I thought that this is a draw until I found out, of course, if a4, king b3 is a draw because a lot of pawns leave the board. But then I found out this idea, and b5, and my king comes to c5, the bishop to e4, I take on b7, and I win the game. So my opponent tried the other idea to push the pawn. I played here, I played b4, and now I think it is important to play this move. And again, if you sit down and calculate it until the end, forcing continuations, you will see that it is winning. For example, king e2 here, and b5 and king a6, and it is a win.
King a4, a3, yeah, include that.
Yeah.
King a4, king a3, king a4, a3. No, not king a3, king a4.
Yeah, yes, so. And a3, yes. Yeah. This is the nice idea.
And Sukswan.
Yeah.
It was actually a mutual Sukswan.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. An important little point is this king b2, that you don't have to play a4 because it's one of the moves which you would think of automatically or try to save the pawns as long as possible. But calculation is, in my definition, is sitting down to find the things you don't see automatically, and slowing down and see, no, actually here I don't have to play this move, I can play something else. That is the core philosophy or the spirit or technique of calculation. You can choose whatever words fit to your own way, your own experience. But that is the technique of calculation, seeing what you don't see automatically.
Exactly.
So yeah, was there one more line at move 7 Black could try? You just want to show? Obviously, everything will be in the PGN file as usual. Those pieces here.
Yeah, this is what actually my opponent played, but yes, here what is winning. He tried some kind of trick, but it doesn't work. And here he resigned. Actually, White doesn't have to play.
Just takes the pawn, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it felt nice, to calculate it, sit down, be systematic, and solve the problem and simply play it.
Let's go to the starting position for a moment. I want to make a little point here. Starting position. Whoa, there. Yeah, yes, you're saying king e3 and bishop e2.
Yeah.
Or maybe bishop e2 and king e3. I'm not sure which is the best move order. But anyway, to do this, here you don't need variations.
Exactly. I think this is the correct technique.
This is the way to play. I was actually, because I'm working on thinking inside the box now. I should have been finished a long time ago, but I'm getting there. And I was actually working on this topic today. And one of the key points to remember about calculation is it is a tool we use for decision making. If we have a long variation, then there is chance that we miss something, and it takes time calculating it. While if we have something which is simple, and even if it is a bit abstract, I'll put the king here, I'll put the bishop here, he'll be in Zugzwang eventually, and then I will win some pawns and I'll win the game easily. You can't calculate it. This can't be calculated. There's no forcing moves. You can sit and make up moves and so on, but there's nothing really to calculate. But you can see that he can't do anything, and you will get forward, and you will eventually win the pawns. You can imagine scenarios schematically.
Yeah,
and here you won't run the risk of missing something, and you won't run the risk of burning too much time or anything like this. So I know you understand this. I just want everyone to understand it.
Yeah, I think that the main problem for club players like me that do not progress is exactly this kind of mistake. We do not see candidate moves. What happened in my game is that at first I saw king e3, king c4. King e3 is okay, there are not many forcing variations. Let's calculate king c4. I felt enthusiastic about that, and I played it, and then I forgotten that there's king e3, which is a simpler solution.
I think you are putting yourself and your colleagues, your friends in the club, down a little bit by saying that it's a mistake of club players. This is a mistake of chess players.
Yeah.
The example I have for thinking inside the box, it might be with a bit longer variations and a bit more detail from the player, but it was Sam Shanklin who calculated 25 moves ahead and misjudged the rook ending by a tempo and didn't win the game. Rather than going down for another line, which was relatively short, a few exchanges, and then he has a technically winning endgame, which he understands is technically winning, but the temptation to calculate, the need for certainty was just too great.
Exactly.
And he went that direction. And it's a very common human thing, but it doesn't make for good chess.
Exactly.
Should we wrap it up here?
I think so.
Block number 10. We thought we'd never manage.
But here it is.
Here it is. See you next week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.